Across, the leadership race for Britain's Prime Minister heats up after Boris Johnson drops out of the contest. With this, Britain's former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak is now the front-runner in UK Prime Minister's race to replace Liz Truss as Prime Minister. Truss has quit as Prime Minister following a failed tax-cutting budget that rocked Britain's financial markets. In fact, the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has pulled out of this contest, saying that he had fewer lawmakers than Sunak to back him. Now, with this, the Tory party leadership contest is set between Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt. Now, Rishi Sunak clearly is highly favoured, considering he has more number of MPs supporting him, has about 147 MPs backing Rishi Sunak, while ex-cabinet minister Penny Mordaunt, who was the first to announce herself as an official candidate, has merely 24 MPs supporting her at the moment. Rishi Sunak will become the United Kingdom's Prime Minister unless Penny reaches the threshold of 100 lawmakers. And if he does, the first time in history that UK will have a Prime Minister of Indian origin.
It's momentum. Rishi at this point in time in Britain. You can see all the headlines in the newspapers are that of it all being behind Rishi. So Sunak favourite for number 10 as Johnson supporters claim he has the numbers. Rishi Sunak set for number 10 as Boris bows out. Sunak set for number 10 as Johnson quits the race. You can see here most of the newspapers here are actually already sort of deciding in a way and gauging the momentum that Rishi is set to be heading towards number 10. These are historic times, and what a day for it to happen on Diwali, on Deepavali. Not so long ago, we remember the sight of Rishi Sunak with Boris Johnson lighting a diya outside 11, numbered 10 and 11, and from 11 to number 10, finally Rishi could be making the journey. It has come after a long while and after all these tumultuous and very historic, exciting times, but most exciting if he does become the Prime Minister and come to number 10, as all of the papers in UK are predicting. Lavina Sandon for India Today from London.
All right, I'm going to quickly go across to Jonathan Gilbert, giving us an understanding right from London. Jonathan, could we safely say that Rishi Sunak is likely to become UK Prime Minister, or are we just jumping the gun? What are the odds?
Well, the clock is ticking. This is literally like one of those Hollywood movies where they set a deadline and you watch the clock tick down. I'm looking at my watch, and there are like 6 hours now, more or less, before either we learn that Rishi Sunak has been anointed, crowned, if you like, as the new Prime Minister without any opposition, or Penny Mordaunt manages to get 100 votes over the line. If she gets those 100 votes over the line, and her team must be bashing those telephones right now, because let's not forget that Boris Johnson didn't pull out till about 9 p.m. last night. A lot of those MPs might have been out for dinner or, putting their kids to bed or whatever. So there are a lot of votes up in the air right now. Let's look at the figures. We already know that Rishi Sunak has 150 odd MPs on his side. And last time there was a count, Penny Mordaunt had only like 25. But they're nearly 200 votes in the wind at the moment. These are 100 odd, if he's to be believed, Boris Johnson ex-supporters, and then probably about another 80 or so MPs who haven't declared, either just waiting to see which way the wind blows, or perhaps they just don't want to participate. But either, look, it's a big ask, okay? Penny Mordaunt needs at least 75 votes in the next 6 hours. But it's not impossible. And if she does, then that takes this whole vote and this whole process into another 4 days of incredibly exciting and tense drama.
Right. I'd like to ask you, Gilbert, what could really change? Rishi Sunak at the moment has close to 147 MPs backing him, while Penny has merely 24 to 27. Do you think there could be, a huge twist in this situation in the next few hours? Is it likely that Penny could rake up more support, or maybe pull out the kind of support Sunak has to her side? Is there even a possibility for this kind of churn?
What one needs to understand very briefly is that this isn't a simple black and white vote. There are two constituencies here. The first is the constituency of Conservative MPs. There are just 350 of them. Okay, so they're in the first part of this process. If they put 2 members on the ballot, all Penny needs is 100 votes. Then it goes to a completely different constituency. This is a constituency of about 170,000, largely southern, white, elderly men. And they get to choose it. Believe it or not, it sounds incredibly strange and archaic and almost feudal, but it's them who get to choose who is our next Prime Minister. So all Penny needs to do in the next 6 hours is get 100 Tory MPs, and then they can concentrate on seducing this incredibly small cohort of very white, right-wing male Tory members. And I wouldn't put it beyond them, given that they already chose Liz Truss over Rishi Sunak 2 months ago, to once again overlook Sunak. It sounds incredible because Sunak is quite obviously the MP's choice, and some might argue the most sensible option for the country. But nonetheless, this strange and dysfunctional system might just cheat him of the premiership.
All right. Jonathan, if Rishi Sunak does make it, his chances are looking bright. He will be the first Indian origin Prime Minister United Kingdom will have. We're going to continue tracking that story. We will be coming back to you. For now, thank you very much, Gilbert.